All right, welcome to the Real Estate Happy Hour. It's Thursday, 4 o'clock.
We're doing it.
We're back.
We are your source of information in the real estate business, right?
Hey, there's a lot of news to go around.
We are kind of a big deal, and these are not the glory days.
Not in real estate right now, or the stock market. It is a roller coaster.
But we're still having fun.
We always have a good
some
time.
information. We've got a government shutdown today. Let's see what else we got. We got some stocks that we're going to talk about. We got some football games again.
Football's back for a week.
We got the Fed. We got some interest rates.
Absolutely.
And then we got 5 reasons houses don't sell in a strong market. So we're bringing all that to you.
Jenny Williams said, you thrive on roller coasters.
Oh, we love it. No.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Well, you know, who would even think, and we're going to get to it.
If you like losing your lunch, you thrive on roller coasters, huh?
That's right. Losing your lunch, metaphorically, right?
Yeah.
No, who would think, and we're going to talk about it, about the Fed. You know, you hear all this news about the Fed, and then you hear the government shutdown. Who knew that it has wide-ranging effects to you if you're a buyer or a seller of real estate?
Yeah, it definitely affects. There's definitely things that bleed over into our business that we're going to talk about.
Well, how was Christmas?
Christmas was great. Good times. Christmas Day, you know, with young kids, cousins, nieces, and nephews, everything. Always a long day, getting up early. Everybody's excited, right? And,
Absolutely.
But good time with the family. Always good time with the family and everybody.
Well, you know, one thing I've thought, you know, I used to always say, waking up in the morning, you know, with a little one, it's a ton of work. And now I looked at Amanda the other day and just said, hey, these toys aren't as much fun to play with, even for me, when they get older. I mean, you know, the days of chasing down batteries and all that, but, you know, good time. And now my favorite Christmas memory from this year was you posted on Facebook that you had a choice of watching the Georgia Tech football game or a movie called Dumpling.
Let me tell you something. Georgia Tech, woo!
Who?
We lost 34-10 to Minnesota.
You got it whooped,
Minnesota,
if you know what I mean.
Who was 6-6. 2 people, Jenny said it's easy when your kids are in college, just expensive. Christmas says, yeah. So 2 people had a problem with the Minnesota coach, 2 different people, P.J. Fleck. Apparently, P.J. Fleck is not winning friends and influencing people because he got some people that don't like him a whole lot, and he's at Minnesota 6-6. So anyway,
right. You're thinking, hey, cakewalk.
So then the option was thrown out there to watch Dumpling.
The Dumpling. Oh, my.
And apparently there are some Dumpling fans
Tara.
out there. And,
Tara, Tara Lindbergh
Jenny
would.
liked the Dumpling movie.
I bet Tara Lindbergh would, too, because she's a Southerner. She has all that Southern English.
It was cute, but it's funny the Tech's getting throttled by Minnesota, so we have to watch Dumpling.
No. I will remember that memory.
Yeah. That's
for a long time.
That's one of the best, huh?
Absolutely. Well,
That's great.
We went up to New York. If you have not been to New York during the Christmas season, phenomenal. Except for the shopping. I didn't like the shopping. Amanda liked the shopping. But, so I was on Julia duty, watching her break dance in the city with a bunch of street performers.
And sing and everything, huh? She was just...
she's in hog heaven, man.
Yeah, she was...
Hey, now, I tell you, everybody knows how cheap I am. Amanda will not do this, but I figured a way. Because, hey, look, if you've ever gone from LaGuardia to get downtown, it's expensive. I mean, you remember taking a taxi, $50 each way. I think you paid. And I found a way to take the city bus for $2.75. Amanda said, I'm glad you took it.
Only
this girl
Swecker. Only Swecker.
It was phenomenal.
Huh? That's great.
Tara, thank you. Hey, yours is too. And by the way, yours is so funny. That girl dances with a sucker all the time. Does she have a sucker? Her daughter's just the cutest little girl, but she always has a sucker in her mouth, I've noticed. But I don't know. I just noticed these things.
That's funny. Man, let me tell you something. All right, so we've got the government shutdown. I think most of it seems to me, is swirling around the wall. They're refusing to put money towards the wall, right?
Absolutely.
Is that the biggest thing they're fighting over?
Well, Trump, as the executive, is saying, hey, I would like to have $5 billion put towards the wall, which it sounds like a lot, but it doesn't nearly cover it. I mean, it's not.
Well, so just... You know, it's a funny thing. So the government is shut down. What does that really mean? Because everybody's not staying home.
They didn't put the lock on the door.
The police officers are still working, right?
Absolutely.
We still have to have key things like that. So the government Why
Yeah.
don't they just take some time off anyway?
Well, that sometimes we
What
think
are
they
we
just need to
missing?
get out of the way. Well, if
are we
everybody
missing?
doesn't know, basically what happens every year, the Congress must approve the budget for the next fiscal year, right?
Yeah.
And it comes in the form of 12 appropriations for 12 different subcommittees that are in the House of Representatives, right? Because they're the ones that actually handle the budget side of the business. It will occur, a government shutdown will occur, this is the official definition, if you will occur if the Congress does not pass remaining appropriations bills for the fiscal year or another, what we call a continuing resolution. Well, we call that kicking the can down the road, right? That's what Congress normally does. They just kick the can down the road.
So they just decided if we don't do this, we could get some time off.
Absolutely.
Extended holiday break.
Absolutely. And in a shutdown,
Perfect.
right? This will answer your question. Federal agencies must continue all non-essential,
Lisa.
discretionary functions until new legislation is passed. Now, how would you like your job to be one of the ones they said, hey, you're non-essential and you're discretionary, right? So in other words, these are things like the IRS. I've seen a lot of misinformation saying it's closed. It's not closed. There are a lot of people working there, but anybody that isn't responsible for just keeping the bare bones operating,
Yep.
you're going home.
Yep, and I'll tell you, we do have some updates. Obviously, this bleeds over into the mortgage business. And when you mention the IRS, one of the biggest things is most files we have to get what are tax transcripts. So it's a part of verification of your income. So if we have to have tax returns in the file for self-employed people, rental real estate, things like that, then we need to go to the IRS and get a transcript of that tax return to verify that exactly what you gave me is what
It's
you
accurate.
gave them.
Because people never lie.
Right, and they never lie. So that stuff is not happening, okay? The IRS is not going to be giving us tax transcripts during the shutdown. Now, there are some workarounds around that. Sometimes we can waive that requirement on some files. That's what we've done in government shutdowns in the past. So that's one of the biggest things. Now, we did get an update from the NFIP, the National Flood Insurance
Program. Flood insurance
Now,
program.
they
Yep.
are funded, okay? So they are issuing policies.
Good. That's good. Because there was talk that they would be slowed down.
Yeah, big one that is not operating is USDA. Okay, so any new files,
It's
any
big
new
here in
loans-
Alabama, by the way. I
Yeah.
don't know if you're in New York City, if it's a big deal, but
Yeah, in New York probably is, but not in New York City.
that's right.
Any new files will need to be held until after the shutdown. If you have a conditional commitment that has been issued, those can close. Anything that has not been reviewed will not be reviewed until after the shutdown is over. FHA, most FHA is going to operate as normal. Okay, a couple of delays are in the reverse mortgage side. There's actually part of the reverse mortgages that are home equity.
they're phenomenal loans, by the way.
And the condo,
I'm kidding.
the condos,
Okay.
condo approval will definitely be delayed.
Well,
But
condo
most-
approval, explain that condos must be approved
Yeah,
to be entered into the FHA
yeah. And
system.
there's a list of approved condos, and the condo development submits their paperwork to FHA. It gets reviewed and approved for a certain amount of time, and then it's got to be updated. So anything like that is probably going to be delayed. Anything if the condo development's not already approved. But most other functions within the FHA are going to be functioning as normal. So just a couple of the main thing is just USDA that's slowed down. There's a couple other delays possible.
Well, and one thing to remember is that even though they're federally backed programs, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, VA, they're going to be operating normally because the underwriting
Right.
guidelines are pretty clear and they don't have as much hands-on, I believe, right?
Right.
It's not like y'all send it off to some VA
And Dawn
administrator.
Jenkins, good to see you join us. Thanks for tuning in. I know we haven't talked in a little while, but great to see you tuning in to us. And Scott Stearns,
The legend.
buddy, the legend, yes, Buddy the Elf, just missed his.
I hate I missed that.
Oh yeah. All right, so moving on. Interest rates right now, we're at 4.55 on average. And again, every week I get this from Freddie Mac Mortgage Market Survey. 4.55 on a 30-year fix, 4.01 on a 15.
Hey, when you were on your cruise, we were at 4.875 roughly, if that tells you something.
Yeah.
So about a month ago.
Yes.
I hate to make you feel bad because it was already been a month. But
well, I want to talk about, because, people right now think rates are so high. When you quote 4.875, quote 5%.
Especially the younger ones.
Which we were for a decent part of the year.
Right.
People would have these reactions like, wow, why is my rate so high? Listen, historically, in the 70s, average rates in the 70s was 8.8. In the 80s was 12.7. In 1980s, average interest rate was 12.7. In the 90s was 8.2, and in 2000, 6.29.
I think it's fascinating that so many people forget that 6.29, that we were 7%, 8%. And don't tell me about them warehouse lines people were taking. The more you go to these mortgage brokers, what y'all called them, that anybody could get a loan, they were charging 3 percentage points on the front end and 2 on the back, and
well, yeah, those were just different types of mortgage programs offered by different investors. Yeah. And look, another thing I wanted to talk about, I did want to bring up the good to see Frida Williams and Courtney Harvey tuning in.
Oh, Courtney, a legend too.
The Fed, the Fed raised rates last week, man, and we have seen so much volatility in the stock market. We have seen Jim Cramer, President Trump, all kinds of people belly aching about what the Fed is saying and what the Fed is doing. And I just wanted to share with you guys, this is the 9th rate hike since late 2015. December 15 is when they started it off.
And let's talk, when he's talking about rate hike, once again, we say it every time, but he's talking about the Fed funds rate, not the mortgage rates.
The Fed funds, guys, and these are related, okay? So the Fed kind of controls monetary supply by raising and lowering this rate. The reason the rate had come down so fast, so much, was to stimulate the economy coming out of the housing crisis.
Gotcha.
Right. So right now we're ratcheting back up, and they're trying to choke the economy back out. I know it sounds weird, but they are trying to slow the economy down to avoid inflation on the other end. It's just
one thing I always think back to when I hear all this. You remember taking economics in I
hated that class.
Yes, right. And you would hear the professors talk about there's really 2 schools of economics. Keynesian and I forgot more, or one other one, and there's macro and micro.
Yeah,
there's really 2 sets of and that's what's at play here is 2 different schools of thought on how to solve this problem, right?
Right, because everybody wants free money and everybody wants a booming economy, but I guess on the other side of that, people don't realize that there is inflation. There are problems because things can't just go up forever.
Well, and I think too, you have one side where the Fed funds chairman especially is going, I'm the adult in the room, and this is the way it needs to be handled. And then Trump's, in many people's school of thought, is the child in the room going, but no, I want that free money.
Right, and Trump does not have a tactful way of getting his point across.
Not the stodgy old guys that are running this
But
thing.
I think he's got a good point, and the guy that I do love is Jim Cramer. Jim Cramer has been very adamant about the Fed doing too much and saying the wrong things.
Well, and Cramer, one thing Cramer hits on there too is that the Fed, Larry Kudlow, he and Cramer are hand in hand, and Cramer says that you might not like Trump, but Larry Kudlow, who's actually the brains behind that operation at the White House, is a smart guy and knows what he's doing.
Well, and I don't want to get too deep into this. I know a lot of people may not get as excited about this stuff as I do, but the outlook for 19 was 3 more hikes in 19. They have since changed that down to 2. Okay, and they have also said that now this is since October. Okay, this is the December statement. The last statement was in October. We have seen softening relative to what has been seen a few months ago, or what was seen a few months ago. Okay, so they're already starting to change their story. I really think they're bracing for a lot less movement next year.
Man crush. What can I say?
Whoa, Nick Limbird.
Yes, Tara's husband.
There you go. But I'm telling you, I'm thinking that the Fed is going to have more of a wait-and-see, data-dependent view next year, which for everybody in the real estate game is a big deal. Because you want the Fed to calm down. You want them to stop moving rates. We need rates to stay where they're at for a little while. We need inventory to come back in. Let's don't mess with buyer affordability at all. Let's leave rates where they're at, bring some houses into the market, and kick off a good...
And let's raise salaries. Let's put more money where the Republicans have always been right, in my opinion, is, well, 2 things. One is, when we lower taxes...
Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be possible, but...
Well, we lower taxes, we end up, every time we lower taxes we see wages rise from the bottom up, right? And then the other thing we see when you do that is employment itself skyrocket, and the government takes in more cash.
And the funny thing is, that's what the Fed is trying to stop. They're trying to stop wage growth. They're trying to stop those increases, because if the economy slows down, companies can't hire. They cannot continue to extend raises.
They don't want to, right?
They don't want to.
And there wasn't the argument, too, that a lot of these businesses had easy access to cash via loans.
And if you've seen how much the stock market has been swinging here lately, then you know the Fed is doing their work. The economy is turning.
Well, it is. And you say, one thing I'm excited about in the real estate world is we're going to get a lot of these part-time agents. You know, we've always operated as a full-service team, as a real business, and you got a lot of these part-timers that are not serving their clients well, in my opinion, and because they're just not in it every day. And hopefully this will push a lot of them out of the business.
Well, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands that an economic slowdown or a recession is not a housing crisis. Okay.
Oh yeah.
The last
clearly.
one, everybody associates a recession with a housing crisis, and that is not what's going on here. That's not going to be a part of the recession or a part of the economic slowdown this time around.
And
okay,
that's correct. Lisa, true, bringing it. But anyway, you know, one thing we wanted to talk about was 5 reasons houses don't sell in a strong market. You know what's funny? I was looking over my list today, and I was looking at all the houses we have listed and went, oh, amen, this is people's biggest assets.
Yes.
Housing, she's talking about, right?
Absolutely.
5 reasons they don't sell. You know what sucked is that if you're in this market with high demand, low inventory, all you got to do is 2 things. Price it right and be in good condition. You'll sell pretty easily.
Yeah.
But that is the first reason, and it's called price.
Pricing is the biggest deal. And people get emotional, and everybody wants top dollar. Right?
I can't tell you how many times I hear somebody going, well, let's just give it a shot here at it's only worth $400, but some sucker will come along and give me $500
and
cash.
You hear it on both sides. You hear it pricing it, overpricing it, and you hear buyers coming in wanting a huge deal. Let's lowball them. Yeah, that's crazy.
Hold on. Yeah, so sellers think it's only on their side this can be done.
Buyers want it on their side. Yeah.
So it never works. And so then they wonder, then guess who they blame?
The realtor.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the problems is, and we lose some listings on the front end of this because we're honest with them and say, you can't do that. You're going to sell, because I'd gladly be your second realtor when you're ready to actually sell. You know, and I've seen more couples
After you sat on the market for a little while.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important to remember that agents have to sell it first to a buyer and then to an appraiser for you guys.
Yeah.
Because you guys, for some reason, don't like overprice when they don't appraise. Y'all don't let us get the money.
Right, yeah. The appraiser's got to go out and look at the house and come up with that value. But that's why a lot of realtors will pull the comps early on at that listing appointment and say, hey, here's what's around you. Here's where you should be. And here's what I think, you know, we could probably list it for. And then there's always that gap between list price and sale price. I mean, real estate agents know these things. So you need to trust
what they're saying.
Trust that advice, right?
Yeah, especially if it sounds right. If they're trying to push you, we're not afraid of pushing this in market. But the problem is, these appraisers aren't liking to push very much. They're nervous.
And I think a lot of sellers don't want to hear the reality. And that reality is going to be the same over this next 3 to 6 months in this market in 2019. You're going to be hearing the price. You need to be conservative. You're not going to have the same multiple offer situation that we had last March 2018. Right. March 2018, we had 14 offers.
Right.
I mean,
tons. It was huge.
2 hours on the market.
Absolutely. Now look at us, right?
That's not going to happen.
Well, you know, I told a seller the other day. I said, man, because he was really kind of making me mad, you know. So I said, hey, I'm in the. You think I'm a realtor, but I'm really in the moving business. My job now is to get you out from the state of denial into the state of reality. Because you crazy,
right?
And you're wrong.
Yeah. Not said that way. But
well, it was pretty close.
Yeah.
But next is, you know, condition of the house.
Yeah.
Look, Holly Pete, who runs most of these houses, the kids or the parents, in terms of the condition? I mean,
well, hopefully it's going to be the parents, right?
I mean, it is just crazy. And the other thing they do is they sit there and they go, we'll wait on updates and repairs. A buyer will be able to see right through that, and we'll just hope that they won't notice. Or they'll just take that into account and take $1,000 off the price. Well, not to mention that these repairs and updates would take $10,000, but they're only going to take $1,000.
Yeah, so right? In the buyer's mind, they're already bumping that $1,000 to $2,000 or $3,000. So each $1,000 that you thought you were going to knock off, they're knocking $2,000 or $3,000 off. So
and remember the whole topic here is starting over when your house is not selling in this market. So it's probably the condition.
Condition is one of the problems if it's not selling.
Right. Next one, seller's motivation. Right? Are they really motivated to sell?
Yeah, and hopefully they will be. And that'll go along with the price. I mean, if they price it aggressively, then they're motivated to move. They're probably going to have a lot more traction, a lot more activity on the house. If they are not that excited about moving and they price it incorrectly, they probably don't care, right? They'll probably sit on it for 6 months through that first realtor, get frustrated, fire them, and then hire another one, drop the price, and sell it.
Absolutely.
And they think it was the realtor, right?
And, one thing I tell our agents, sometimes, and other agents that I come in contact with, is make sure you're communicating with both spouses, right, that are involved as sellers, because a lot of times there will be one side that does not want to sell. And if you're talking to that person, I guarantee you the advice you're giving is not getting through to the motivating party of the two. Because remember, every relationship has a nerd and a free spirit. I love the free spirits because they are the ones that want to go.
And you got to have the decision maker.
Right. Marketing plan is the next one, right? I don't know what the saying is, but he who has no marketing plan stinks.
Yeah, you got to be able to promote that house online and get it out there, get it in front of people. You want buyers to know that you're selling something.
And I cannot tell you how many times I see still iPhone, not even iPhone, phones like you have. What, Android?
It's a beautiful Google Pixel
awful.
2.
It's awful. If Courtney's still listening, please, iPhone. But anyway, here's the thing, is that if you're taking pictures of your house with a phone, we have problems.
Oh, my camera's way better than your iPhone.
Not this guy. But my point is, if you're using my iPhone to do it, it's the wrong one too.
Live.
Well, for Facebook Live we are. But for photographs, pay for a professional photographer. Make sure you're getting some portion of video out there, especially if the house is worthy of it.
Because, man, a lot of buyers are going to want, I do refuse. I mean, it's just, I'm too far in now.
What point are you proving by having that phone?
There's no point. You don't have to be an iPhone follower. You don't have to be an Apple cult.
Oh, no, but you can have a phone that works. Cult. Oh, that's funny.
There's only one thing that it doesn't do that I know of.
Which
is
Facebook
Live.
Call me crazy. If anybody saw last week's attempt. But by the way, the best part was I could get your dad on, but I couldn't get you on. And so I asked David, I said, I asked David, I said, let me guess, he has an iPhone.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Russian.
The last one is, and I think this transfers over to the mortgage process.
Manipulated the process,
Yeah. All right, before we digress, it's the same thing when somebody's going through the home buying process with their lender. It's the same thing when they're trying to sell their house with their agent, and it's a lack of communication. And one of the best things is, please, don't just go fire that person. You probably have been asking the wrong questions or not communicating at all.
Anytime you're frustrated, you need to air that out and tell them what your concerns are. If they're having other agents look at the house, they're getting feedback. Hopefully they're sharing that feedback with you. That's part of the communication plan, right? If they're having, obviously every time a buyer comes in and looks at it, hopefully that other agent is saying, hey, they didn't like the red room, or,
just tell us feedback,
right? The toilet was running. I mean, whatever. That's the kind of communication you want to have.
Yeah, and you want to be proactive about it. And your agent should too. This is not taking the burden of, but even in your line, right? If you're wondering, if you're saying, I think in this environment, let's say it's USDA coming in, right? And you think David's taking extraordinary too long of a time, you need to say, hey, David, why is it taking long? Because there's a real answer behind that, which is the shutdown has now stopped new applications, and and he may or may not have told you, but now you have an answer instead of getting, because the longer, I mean, this isn't anything though, really, but the longer you wait to ask that question of communication, the more mad you're going to be about it, right? And then you start thinking every possible scenario, and this is an easy answer that everybody can understand. Hey,
yeah,
it's impossible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, moving on, we've got the stock market in 2018 has been a little crazy. I think it's down
close to 20% now, right? Or
I think we were up 25% in 17. Now we're back to the summer 17 levels. I think we're at about 23,000. Yesterday we had a 1,000-point surge. Today down 600 at one point. Finished up 200,
200.
So I think we're still hovering around 23,000, which would be down a little around 10%, I think, for the year. So up 25% in 17, down 10%. So we're back to summer levels of 17. It's just been a lot of movement and a lot of volatility here lately. And I think it's around these the interest rates and what the Fed's doing with the market and things like that. I think that's
confidence, right? It's the confidence in what's going to happen. The other one is these trade deals we've talked about with China. China is the big behemoth in the room, and we all want to say this is boring. But it affects everything you do, from the price of milk to getting a mortgage loan to your 401k for sure.
So there's a few things that we figured you guys can still do. Even though the stock market's been crazy.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Because everybody's sitting there going, what do I do? And frozen, right?
Yeah. So number one is avoid overreacting. Okay? Stocks are going to rise. Stocks are going to fall. The biggest thing that I think to notice when a stock falls like this, if you own a stock right now and the stock has dropped, then you need to look and see what is the factor. Has the company changed? Are they losing money? Or has the business model failing? Anything like that? Or did they lose the
He forgot to pay the light bill again. There we go. Got it back on.
So we got to look at that. Right now, these are the whole market's down. So it's not necessarily that Amazon's having a problem, but Amazon has come down.
Well,
right?
It's funny. One of my favorite advisors.
So hang on to it.
Well, one of my favorite advisors here is this Courtney Harvey, right? So I texted her the other day, oh man, what are we doing? I got to get back in, And she said, hey, basically, her response was long term. I need to see what's going on. Be calm. And one of the biggest piece of advice we have in this one is control your emotions, and that's what she does. Yeah, and then I don't do too well. Really.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You got to make sure that you own quality companies, understand the own quality stocks, understand the company. All right, and then make a decision that the company's still doing good. The stock will come back. Okay, this is a market function, this is a market problem, not a company problem.
Hold on. Yeah. See, I think that's one thing we all got to look at. Take a company, I'm trying to think of a good one. I love Royal Caribbean, so I'll take that one. Profits are great. Everything's great about the stock, but it loses a ton of value, 15% over the last.
Matter of fact, Brady and I did some numbers on Royal Caribbean on Thursday or Friday last week, I believe, and their net income has gone way up from 14 and 15, and then shot up in 16 and 17. Net. So they're looking really good.
So they lost all this money that had nothing to do with the underlying fundamentals.
And the stock has gotten killed lately from 130 a share down to around 98, I believe.
Well, it's lower than that now. It's about 94.
94. So that's a big drop. It's something that most people would be concerned with, but it's not. Well, here's the problem with the company.
One thing to remember, 85% of all trading that occurs right now is done by computers. And in other words, it's not somebody inputting it. It's
an algorithm.
Algorithms that are going, hey, when this goes here, sell. This goes here, buy. So it forces. And then guess what happens when everybody buys? Everybody else goes, oh, it must be great. So we all buy. And then the computer's first one to undercut you and sell it again. And that's probably what we saw today happening.
Those algorithms trigger a lot of trades, which just happen all at the same time and affect the market. And it's hard to figure out if that's really based on something, or I think it's just levels that these algorithms are triggering. So that's tough to spot, but it is a part of the market. Number two, though, we got to prepare for a bear market.
Absolutely. Right? And, you need to own stocks that you wouldn't mind owning in any market. right? That these are the ones we're just talking about. Your Procter and Gamble's, the ones that have things that people use every single day, that have Royal Caribbean's another one, right? That pay a good dividend. That's the other thing, is making sure dividend-paying stocks can save your keister, right? As they say. I've talked about it on here many times. The PIMCO, PCI, it's a fund from the PIMCO family. It gave me about an 8.5% dividend this year. Of course, it lost about 8.5%.
So it broke even.
It broke even, but it protected me.
Now, yeah, and so in a bull market, stocks go up. In a bear market, stocks go down. And I think we're just at the beginning of this. All the volatility, I think, is signaling the change in direction. I think still, and I know we mentioned this a few months ago, that if you have a regular savings plan for stocks, I think that you continue that, but to hold more cash, put less in the market at this time, and in 3 to 6 months intervals later on down. After the market has come back some more, then you kind of start leveling more in. And
strategically be adding to your positions in this market, though, because I think that when you add lightly to your positions, you'll feel better. Because the worst feeling is getting what next year, let's say Royal Caribbean sit at 94 and it's at 138. You're going to be going, why didn't I add? Just add a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't go all in with everything.
And number 3 is don't focus on the short term. It's a long-term game. So if any money you're investing in the stock market, into stocks, you probably wanted to be there for 10, 15, 20 years. Think about where the stock market, the Dow, those indices were 10, 15 years ago. Much lower than they are today, right?
Absolutely.
And they're going to be much higher.
And remember, there is some real value. And it's a shifting, too. I heard Clark Howard talk about this, too. We say buy what you know. If you're Warren Buffett, now he's one of the rare ones, but we are shifting what we know. It's no longer, because there's a lot of tech stocks that a younger generation is going to actually know and understand. Obviously, unlike you and I that bought some Snapchat,
it's a buyout play. It's going to be big money. Just kidding.
I hope so. I've lost like 60%.
Right.
And I thought I bought, and by the way, I bought it at 20% or so below where it came out. It hit the market. But anyway, next to everybody's favorite part, Martin Lerman's favorite part, it's the college football picks.
If you had Minnesota last night, you would have won big.
Yeah, you didn't take much last night for them to win big.
So we've got, and that was Paul Johnson's last game of the triple option. So Jeff Collins coming in next year. He's got about 12 running backs on scholarship. So we'll figure out how he...
Y'all have a tough time because you guys actually have to pass real school.
Now we're going to have a lot of players keyed up for the triple option. He's going to have to turn into a different system. So it's going to be interesting.
All right, your dad's favorite team,
Texas
Georgia.
Versus Georgia. Texas plus 13 versus Georgia in the Sugar Bowl.
Who you got?
Oh, I got to go with Texas.
Well, that's just because you like them. I will too, though.
Florida plus 6 versus Michigan in the Peach Bowl.
Well, go blue. This is one that I feel will be a rout. I say a rout. This will be a
Michigan
2-touchdown game. Yeah.
Yeah, these type of bowl games are going to be tough for which team wants to.
I don't think Florida's beaten Michigan, if I understand right.
Purdue plus 3.5 versus Auburn in the Music City Bowl. Auburn is guaranteed to lose.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this. Last year, we had to play against a one-arm guy.
Right? You talk about.
Well, we did. Right? And so everybody's going, oh, you're playing against a one-arm guy. We're going to lose to that. And God bless this Tyler Trent, who's dying of cancer. It's a terrible story.
He made it to the NFL, that guy.
No, that guy did. Tyler Trent is in hospital, all that. I'm just telling you, Auburn, we can't win for losing.
Plus, y'all can't.
That kid's going to inspire him to victory. I'm going Purdue plus 3.5.
Yeah, Gus Malzahn's not going to get y'all excited.
Nick Lindbergh apparently didn't hear us. He did hear us, and he's questioning it.
Texas is going to hang with Georgia. They're calling it in.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean,
I don't like Georgia, though, Nick. I can't help it. I'm a Georgia Tech guy.
Hey, he's got 2 teams. He's Ole Miss and Arkansas.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, 2 powerhouses.
There you go. Purdue is going to kill Auburn because Gus is going to have those guys sleeping on the bus. Notre Dame 12.5 versus Clemson in the Cotton Bowl semifinal.
Look, it's taking side bets. Okay.
I'm not sure about the line, but Clemson's going to win the game.
Yeah, yes, but if ever there was a time to screw us Auburn fans, because, for us, it's all about Alabama losing at this point. Nothing makes Alabama win easier than Notre Dame beating Clemson and Alabama playing and crushing Notre Dame, because Notre Dame would have no chance against Alabama. So guess what? I'm taking, you said it right here. Oh, he said both were bowl eligible. Hey, that's
right. Ole Miss and who did you say?
Arkansas wasn't bowl eligible. Neither is Ole Miss.
They might have been.
No,
Minnesota made it.
Ole Miss was on probation. But anyway.
Oklahoma.
Hold on. I haven't told you this. It's Notre Dame on the money line. Notre Dame wins this game outright and screws all the Auburn fans. And we have to listen to Gus and all that stuff. But anyway, Notre Dame beats Clemson. They're going to go to the finals against
Oklahoma plus 14 versus Alabama. Alabama's going to win, depending on the quarterback situation. Oklahoma plus 14 is going to have to be somewhere around 40 or 50. I mean, they're going to score 30. Look, Oklahoma's going to score 30 at least.
Yeah. Look,
Alabama's not covering that line. They're going to win, though.
Yeah. The problem is there's no defense on one side. So I'm going to take Alabama to win by 17 points. They're going to barely cover. So if you can get a hook, get it to 13.5, Alabama wins the game big.
Alabama's going to win. Clemson's going to win. Then it's going to be a big game. Alabama-Clemson.
Alabama-Notre Dame in the finals.
No way.
Yeah, because then Alabama's, you'll hear it here first. Alabama's going to roll, and then we're going to have to hear about it for another, oh, God. For their 48th national championship, so they say.
The 48th.
Man. Anyway.
Well, listen, 2018, this is the last show of the year. It's over, and you guys have a happy new year. Everybody be safe, be careful out there. It's been fun, though.
And have a cold beverage. Absolutely. And thank you for everybody for supporting us over the year, because we now are launched the podcast edition on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find great pod.
And we are kind of a big deal. Even if Karen Charles shows up late, we're still a big deal.
Appreciate her showing up on time here.
But, I mean, she's clearly one of our biggest fans.
Yeah, clearly. But anyway, we'll be back same time, same place next year.
Next Thursday.
The
Gus Bus is on fire.
Oh, it is on fire. It's a dumpster fire.
Yeah, it is a dumpster fire.
All right. See you guys later. Happy New Year.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.